All right, so here is our program. We've got the method header set up and we're all ready to add some code to the method. So remember, this is going to be a countdown method. So let's go ahead and code up the countdown. We'll use as a pattern what we did in programming assignment 3. So we start with int I while I is greater than or equal to 0. I minus minus will cause us to count, minus minus will cause us to count backwards. And then each time that happens, what's wrong with this I? Oh, for int I, sorry. For int I equals, and then we've got to set it to some starting value. So we use the literal constant 3. So we'll count backwards from 3 to 0. And then each time we take a tick, we will print the value of I. And then in between ticks, we'll go ahead and do the sleep thing that causes us to wait 1 second. Sleep and 1,000 milliseconds. Okay, well, that's it for the method. Now we have a method. It doesn't take any parameters. It doesn't return anything, but it will write this. Data to the console. So in order to cause the statements to execute, you need to invoke the method. And the way you do that is to put the method's name up here, and then in parentheses put any parameters that the method requires. And in this case, the method requires no parameters, so that is going to do it. So let's go ahead and execute. I'll just press F5. And you get 3, 2, 1, 0, and that's it. So excellent. So it does just what we wanted. But it's not a terribly interesting method. So let's go ahead and try and make it a little bit more interesting by adding a parameter to this method. So this is what I described to you earlier. We'll read in a value from the console and use that as the starting point for the countdown. Enter starting point. And I'll go ahead and so here's, starting point. So now we've got the integer to read into. And then here we'll just say starting point equals, I'll use int.parse. So read the line, convert the value to an integer. We'll trust the user to key in numbers only, so our program doesn't throw an exception. And then we're going to call countdown. But countdown doesn't know how to use this starting point. So let's go teach countdown how to deal with incoming integer values that it can use as a starting point. So what we need to do first is to declare the parameter within these parentheses, and it looks just like an ordinary variable declaration. So we'll say int, and how about start here as the name of the parameter, and then we'll come down here where we have this literal constant 3. We'll use start here. All right, so far so good. That looks pretty good. So let's scroll up. Anything else we need to do? Uh-oh, look at that. We have a red squiggly under countdown. So this is the invocation of the method. And the reason there's a squiggly is that you need to specify the parameter here too. So I'll put in starting point, and you'll see the squiggly goes away. So now the meaning of this is we read the value of starting point from the console. We stuff it in here because countdown, if you look at the tooltip that just came in, it says, okay, countdown requires an integer to fill in its start here parameter. So we're sending this integer value right into countdown's expected parameter. So let's watch that work. Press F5. And here we go, enter a starting point. So I'll put in 4. And we should see 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and we're out. Just what you'd have expected. If I run it again and put in 2, you should see 2, 1, 0, and we're out. So now we know that works. So up to this point, what you've done is written a method that's got no parameters and returns no values, and you've written one that takes one parameter and returns no values.